Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2018 Vermont Mentoring Month webinar. My name is Benji Thurber. I'm the Communications Director here at Mobius, and I'm also joined on the call today by Chad Butt, our Executive Director, and Hope Ward, our AmeriCorps Vista this year. And we're going to be talking to you all about National Mentoring Month and how you can get involved with your mentoring program here in Vermont. So I'm just going to start by going through our agenda for the webinar and just giving you a sense of what we're looking to cover. I'm going to start by just giving you an overall view of the National Mentoring Month campaign, kind of tie that back into what we have going on here in Vermont and tell you a little bit about our sponsors for 2018. Chad's going to talk with us a little bit more about our keynote event, the Mentoring Celebration at the Statehouse. And then we're just going to do a run through of all the different resources that Mobius can offer to help you get involved with the campaign. So we have what we call the Vermont Mentoring Month Toolkit, which is a web page hosted on the Mobius website that kind of is a catch-all for all of the different resources that you have access to and can use to help join the campaign. So I'll be going through some of that material, and then Hope is going to cover the social media side of things and also talk about how we can help amplify the reach of the events that you're doing locally in your communities with your programs. Lastly, Chad's going to talk a little bit more about advocacy and how you can use Mentoring Month to connect with your legislators and to kind of be a part of the larger movement to just raise awareness of the mentoring need in Vermont with our state government. And at the end, we'll have the opportunity for you all to participate in a Q&A and sharing session. You'll note that for right now, I have you all muted, and that's just to make sure that we have good sound quality during the call. But as we get to places where people have questions, we can definitely take you off to say your question out loud. I think I've been in communication with all of you through the chat window, so if you have a question that you want us to cover, send us a chat message and we'll see it, and we'll come back to that either at the end or when it makes sense to have a stopping point over the course of the call. So I'm going to start by just talking a little bit about the National Mentoring Month campaign. National Mentoring Month is now in its 16th year, and it's a campaign that happens nationwide that's spearheaded by Mentor, the National Mentoring Partnership. As you probably know, Mobius is Vermont's state affiliate of Mentor. The campaign is also spearheaded by the Harvard School of Public Health with financial support from the Highland Street Foundation. And more recently, not Mobius, but Mentor has worked with the NBA Players Association and with NBA Cares to have the NBA be a more prominent part of National Mentoring Month as well. The campaign for the third year in a row centers around Mentor's kind of year-round campaign of In Real Life, which is really recognizing the real-life mentoring relationships that form and thrive each day. And this year really having a specific focus on working on finding opportunities for people to thank the mentors who inspire them. So stories of mentoring and really having it be like an on-the-ground kind of way to really show how mentoring is like a real-life phenomenon. It's not about mentors being superheroes or larger-than-life figures, but like that anybody can be a mentor. Here in Vermont, I'm going to just give you a quick rundown of all of the business sponsors that are working with Mobius to help make the campaign locally possible. We have, once again, Redstone Commercial Group returning as our lead sponsor for the Statehouse event. Comcast, NBC, Universal for the third year in a row is sponsoring our Mentor of the Year award. Our other sponsors at the Vermont Mentoring Month level include Cabot Creamery, UVM Medical Center, the Rutland Regional Medical Center, and we have a range of new sponsors coming in from the mentoring supporter side. We have returning this year, we have Vermont Gas, Heritage Aviation, DR Power, Union Mutual of Vermont, Local Muscle, and then for new sponsors, we also have Concept 2, Vermont Federal Credit Union, Hanson and Doremus, North Country Credit Union, Burlington Furniture, Duke Construction Corp., M. Krause and Company, and Heritage Automotive. And as I mentioned before, the keynote event that we have as a part of the Vermont Mentoring Month campaign that Mobius spearheads is our annual celebration at the Statehouse. And so at this point in the webinar, I'm actually going to send things over to our director, Chad, to talk a little bit more about what the Statehouse event is going to look like this year. So without further ado, here is Chad.
Hello, everybody. So thanks so much for joining us today. So as always with the January event, it's always a little tricky trying to schedule things with the governor's schedule and the House as the session's getting going. So we're still waiting to hear back from the governor's office on a final date of the event, but we're looking at having the event again towards the end of January. And once we have that date, which should be by the end of this month, we'll be in touch with everybody. We're working with the Program Leadership Council this year to ensure that the event is a little bit more kid-friendly and involves less speaking at everybody and more involvement from everybody in the group, which I think would be a great aspect for us to add to make sure it just is engaging for everybody that comes, especially if we get youth that come out of school to attend the event to make sure they're getting the most out of it. The event's going to have a morning session as usual. We'll do some group activities. We'll have the governor come and do a proclamation reading, and we'll also have the Mentor of the Year award happen there. We'll do some lunch over at the Statehouse still, and try to work in some advocacy, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. And then the House will do the resolution on the floor, and we'll be up in the balcony for that part as well, followed up with Statehouse tours for anybody that's interested. So we hope that you all can get out there and we can get folks from all the programs, both mentors, mentees, and supporters present. And we'll have a lot more details in the coming weeks here. But don't hesitate to reach out as you hear from us. We'd love to see you there. I'll pass things back off to Benji.
Great, thank you, Chad. Now we're going to shift gears a little bit, and I'm going to talk about actually the way that you can gain access to resources to help join the campaign within your local programs and local communities. So I'm going to start by just running through some of the complimentary National Mentoring Month and Mobius mentoring branded materials that we can offer if you would like to share these within your communities. So as we had last year, we have the nationally branded in real life mentoring poster that has a mentor pair playing chess together. And it has both the information for where you can learn more about the national campaign, and it's also branded with Mobius and encouraging people who are interested in finding a mentoring program near them to go to the Mobius website. So we have a bunch of those posters, which are 11 by 17 printed out on glossy cardstock. And in addition to the posters, we have table tents that are printed on in orange on cardstock. You'll see that's the lower left item on the screen right now. And so those are basically the idea is that somebody who goes mentoring in their workplace has those and they can put them up on their desk, and it acts as like a conversation starter for their colleagues to see and ask them about mentoring and potentially have them get involved, because we know that the most efficient way most effective way to recruit a new mentor is for somebody to learn about it from a trusted source. So a family member, a friend, or a colleague who is already involved and is telling them about what a great experience mentoring has been for them. And lastly, we have the I'm a Mentor stickers. And so those stickers are a way for people who are currently mentoring to showcase, again, that they are involved with mentoring, and it also includes the Mobius branding and Mobius website. So if somebody sees that and wants to learn more within their network, then they can just easily have access to that information. And so if you're interested in signing up for those materials, I'm going to show you in a second where you can actually access the form for ordering them from our website. The one thing I would make note of here is that we're happy to ship the stickers and the table tents Shipping posters is a little bit more difficult, so we would look to work with you on a different way to get those to you. Usually that's just a matter of can we connect with somebody else in your area as we're traveling around the state, or we can work with you to come up with a way to do that, but we probably wouldn't be mailing the posters, but we're fine doing the other two. So I am actually going to shift gears now and actually show you how you can access materials on your own and become a part of the campaign. So during January, if you go to the Mobius website, www.mobiusmentors.org, you'll see on our site that we have things separated out into different sections. If you go under Program Resources, at the top right now we have what is known as the Vermont Mentoring Month Toolkit. So if you click on that, this is the sort of catch-all area that I referred to earlier, where you can get all the information that you need to participate in the 2018 Mentoring Month campaign. At the top, we have just kind of a general overview of National Mentoring Month, the national campaign, and what the goals are of the In Real Life campaign that I mentioned earlier. And then the first thing that we have listed is what I just showed you a minute ago, the complimentary promotional materials, which if you follow the link here, there's a form where you can sign up to receive materials for your program. And then some of the other things in this list I'm actually going to have Hope go through with you later, but skipping ahead, we have a guide for how to organize a benefit event for your program. And so I'm just going to open that up so you can see that right now. And so that's something that basically this is a one-pager for just giving you a brief rundown of how you would go about identifying a business in your community, and then just sort of structuring how you could do a benefit event, both to raise awareness and funds for your program. And so it's just a quick how-to guide. If you need additional help beyond just kind of like the brainstorming of how you would go about this and pitching it on your own, I'm also happy to help with this too, because we've done a bunch of benefit events over the years, and I've also worked directly with programs to set things up in their communities too. But the general idea with a lot of these events is like it's a one-day thing where a business will agree to donate a percentage of the proceeds or a certain amount off of an item that they're selling. So it could be like a restaurant, or it could be a store that's donating a percentage. And then they usually also give you the ability to put some information up about your program. So either just general information about how to get involved, or also a mentoring story that could draw people in and make them both aware of your program, but also like potentially want to get involved as mentors as well. And then the other thing I just wanted to note is that Mobius is always a resource for these types of activities, and so we can help you promote your event in advance, in addition to just being able to also work with you directly to get it off the ground. And so Hope's going to talk about this a little bit more, but we have the ability for, if you already have something set up, we have an event submission form, so you can send us all the information about your event in advance, and then we can promote it through our various channels. But there's also a variety of other ways that you can get the word out, through your local newspaper, through any mailing list that you have, Front Porch Forum, your social media, different e-calendars for newspapers in the area. There's a variety of ways to get the word out, and you also should make use of your mentors and advisory councils and in helping to promote these things as well. And I'm also just briefly going to talk about, as far as getting the word out to the press about an event that you're holding for your program, we do have a quick media alert document that I put together that kind of gives you just a what, when, who, where, how, and why. That there's just an easy way to organize information in a way that news outlets are used to receiving it and can just quickly see what your event is about, who you are, and what they need to do to follow up and to potentially go cover the event, and or help promote it to the public. And so you see I have just a kind of sample template here that you can access from the site. And if you have any other questions specifically about reaching out to the press and you need a little bit more than this, I'm also happy to help, and I'm always a resource in this area. So hopping back to this, you'll see that there's a lot of other links under this list of resources. And I think what I'm going to do now is actually pass things off to my colleague Hope, who is going to talk more specifically about the promoting of your events and also just how to get involved with the social media side of the campaign as well.
Thanks, Benji. Hi, everyone. So I'm going to talk to you about one of the resources that we have on our Toolkit page, which Benji has pulled up. And that is the How to Create a Social Media Plan for Vermont Mentoring Month. So a few key things to keep in mind when you are creating your plan is just one, keeping in line with the national conversation. So the national campaign, as most of you know, is spearheaded by Mentor, the National Mentoring Partnership. And again, this year, the overarching theme for National Mentoring Month is Mentor in Real Life. So this kind of gives everyone an opportunity to talk about the real life benefits of mentoring. So key messages and supporting talking points to keep in mind when you're creating your posts are mentioning that mentoring has an impact in real life. And as a community, we can't afford to leave mentoring to chance. Also, mentoring builds relationships that are meaningful for the mentor as they are for the young person. And there are 9 million kids nationally that are in need of mentors, including more than 15,000 in Vermont alone. Another important thing to note is being aware of the key dates in National Mentoring Month. So I'm going to run through those dates now, and then in a few minutes I will break up, what those dates really are about. So the first is January 4th, I Am a Mentor Day. That's also the last day to vote for Mentor of the Year award. The next is January 11th. That is National Mentoring Month Kickoff Twitter Chat. That begins at 3 p.m. Eastern time zone. And the next one is January 15th, which is MLK Day of Service. So we really encourage people to treat that as a day of service and participate in their community with local community service programs. January 17th is International Mentoring Day. January 25th is Thank Your Mentor Day. So we encourage people to use the hashtag Thank Your Mentor on that day. And then lastly is the Vermont Mentoring Celebration at the Statehouse, which will be sometime later in January, but the exact date of that has not been decided on yet. So next important thing when you're creating your plan for National Mentoring Month is to kind of like mix it up and really, include all the images that you have, change your profile picture, your cover photo. The images that you can use for that, there's a link on this page, which Benji is going to point out to you now. And these are just a few of the images that are available. If you follow the link, it'll take you to Mentor's page about this, where they have all of their images located for National Mentoring Month. So some campaign details. I just mentioned all of the important dates for National Mentoring Month, but just to kind of break them down and explain a little bit more about what they are. I'm a Mentor Day, which is January 4th, is a day for volunteer mentors to celebrate their role and reflect on the ways mentees have enhanced their world. So when you're, on social media, this is an opportunity for mentors to kind of share their stories about their mentees. January 11th, National Mentoring Month Kickoff Twitter Chat. You can join others on Twitter. It's a social media opportunity to discuss all things National Mentoring Month related and how mentoring is impacting local communities. January 15th, Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service. As I mentioned, that's a day to share in the inspirational words of MLK Jr. and elevate the spirit of service through volunteerism. January 17th, International Mentoring Day. This is a day of international conversations on social media where photos, video, and powerful mentoring stories are shared. January 25th, Thank Your Mentor Day. As I said, just a day for everyone to kind of celebrate real-life mentoring experiences and thank those who have helped them on their path. So we really do encourage you to use the hashtag Thank Your Mentor and include a picture of, mentors and mentees with, a story about why your mentor made a difference in your life. So lastly, what I want to talk about is voting for Mentor of the Year award. This is something that we definitely want all of Vermont mentoring programs to keep in mind in their social media plan, because it's the way of really bringing this campaign home locally. So I included on our social media plan some sample posts that you can use, one for Facebook, one for Twitter, one for Instagram, which you can see on the screen now. It's really just kind of, an opportunity to encourage people to vote for their, choice for Vermont Mentor of the Year. Just a reminder that nominees have been posted and they're on the website under 2018 Mentor of the Year nominees, and you can see all of the nominees and the form to vote there. Something else that I want to point out, I won't go into a lot of detail now, but another resource that you can find located on the toolkit is the how to create a social media page. This is a very in-depth, an in-depth page about all the details of creating a Facebook page, a Twitter account, an Instagram page, walking you through how to create it and ways, to kind of get yourself going. I think Benji's got that pulled up now, so you can see at the top there's an index. So basically, we created this index so that if you have one of these forms of social media already that you're reliant on and you'd like to expand to another, you can just go ahead and jump to whichever page is most relevant to you by going to the index on the left-hand side at the top. Next to that thing that I just want to mention is submitting events to Mobius. So throughout National Mentoring Month, if there's an event that you would like others to be aware of ahead of time, we really encourage you to fill out our form and submit that to us. And there's a few different ways in which you can fill out the form. The first is on the calendar page on our website. So if you're just on our home page, if you're on our home page, you can scroll down to Mentoring Events Calendar, as Benji is pulling up now. And when you're on the calendar page, it'll load in a second, there's right there, it says, fill out this form here. So that's one way of doing it. Another way is if you're back on the toolkit, the link is right there. If you scroll down, it says, fill out this form to submit your event. The link is also located on the National Mentoring Month page itself. So there's 3 different ways in which you can submit your events to us, and we really encourage you to do that because we want, everyone in the community to know what's going on and have the opportunity to participate or just know what your program has going on. So with that in mind, if you have had events already, we would love if you would send us, photos and event recap so that we can include that in our newsletter, just so that, whatever your program has been participating in, we can share with others and really raise awareness about what your program's doing. So I am now going to pass this on to Chad, who is going to discuss advocating for mentoring in January.
Hello, everybody, again. So Advocacy Work, we really want to make sure that mentoring programs are doing year-round. January is a great opportunity to highlight it with any work you're doing. So if you're putting on events and inviting people in the community to events, or even if you're just doing a mentor-mentee event, it's a great opportunity to email out to your legislators so that they are aware of what's going on and that they hopefully can possibly attend or at least know what you're doing. With the Statehouse, we'll have some opportunity for folks to actually do some legislative work there and advocate for mentoring just through being in the Statehouse and hopefully emailing out to their representatives and senators to join them at lunch. But I think just overall, we wanted to make sure at this point that you're utilizing the fact that we live in Vermont and it's a part-time legislature, so that really the best time to advocate for mentoring is when folks are not in session, they're not busy, and you can actually grab coffee with them or invite them to come see a mentoring program. Some of you may have mentors that are actually legislators, and that's probably the best thing you can do is convince them that they actually should be volunteering their time. So we're happy to help you figure out how to do that. If you need help figuring out who represents the areas you serve, we can help you figure that out through the General Assembly website, which we have a link on our page. But feel free to reach out to us, and really I encourage you to not be bashful about reaching out to your local legislators. They represent you and your mentors and mentees and the families that you support. And really they should know, and they want to know, what the great work you're doing is in their area, so they can be informed, and then ideally support us through the state funding we get through DCF every year, through the possibility of us finding ways to waive the driver check fee this year in the legislature through a bill, and things like that. But generally, just to know about all the great work that you and your team are doing in your program. So feel free to reach out if we can help you in any way. I'm going to pass things back off to Benji.
Great, thank you, Chad. I wanted to just quickly jump back to the toolkit page before we get to the question and answer session here, and just kind of point out too that this toolkit area is really going to be a living, breathing web page that's going to be updated constantly throughout the month. And so if you go down to where we see the promoting mentoring in the media section, we have a place where we're going to put all of our major press announcements. As you can see right now, we have the information about the nominees being announced for the Mentor of the Year award. But we'll have more information in there that you can draw from when you're doing your own outreach as well. So once we have a finalized date for the Statehouse celebration, we're going to put out a press release announcing it. And so you'll be able to have all the information you need there to talk about the event. And if you, especially if you're looking for a way to get like your local papers to do a story about mentoring during the month, that would be a great resource for pulling language and just stats and just more information about what's going on with mentoring across the state. And as I mentioned before, you can always reach out to me if you are looking for assistance or would like to make a pitch and you'd like to do something in concert with Mobius to have a better chance of getting news coverage. I'm always happy to help. So I think at this point in the webinar, we are going to switch over to doing questions and answers. And so I think if anybody has any specific questions, I'm going to unmute everybody and just give you a chance to weigh in and see if you have anything that you'd like to talk about at this point. If you have any questions about anything that we've talked about so far, or even if you want to just talk about things that you've done with your program in the past, I leave this sort of up to you guys to jump in if you'd like to. Let's see, would anybody like to talk at all about events that they've held in their community in past years? Karen, I know that you've done a few events with the Blue Paddle, and you've also done some board game group mentor pair events and other things to celebrate National Mentoring Month.
Yeah, and we'll be doing our game night in January as one of our events too, with mentors and mentees.
And I know also you've done a great job of getting some media coverage during the month in your local paper, the Islander too. So would you mind talking a little bit about what that process was like?
Well, I mean, I think we have a good relationship with our local paper. I mean, she is pretty willing to do an article a month for us, like a profile of a mentor and a mentee, and especially if we have good photographs. She really loves the photographs. So for game night, we try to get a group photo of all the mentors and mentees, which is kind of, it's fun for all the kids to see themselves in the paper, but also it's a great recruiting tool for other people to see all the mentors and mentees having fun playing board games and things.
That's great. Would anybody else like to share with anything that they either have done in the past or might be looking to do this year? Zoe or Sophie, did you have any ideas for events that your programs might hold during National Mentoring Month?
Hi, this is Zoe. So I am the family leave replacement for Megan Brakely, who's typically working in the Middlebury College Center for Community Engagement. So Megan's actually coming back right in the middle of January. So I think our goal is going to be to do a lot of social media posts and campaigns, etc. And the toolkit that y'all have is going to be super helpful for that.
Great. Sophie, did you have any plans to hold any National Mentoring Month events up in Milton?
Yeah, so I think we are also planning to do a bunch of social media. We have a bunch of new matches coming in, so hopefully trying to celebrate those and encourage some new ones. And then we are working on a collaboration with the Milton Artists Guild to hold a art or craft workshop, which hopefully is going to be in January. So I'm hoping that could coincide with some Mentoring Month promotion.
Great. So would the art and craft workshop be more of like a mentor pair event, that something mentors and mentees could do together, or would it be a fundraiser?
It would be a prepared event. Yeah. So not a fundraiser.
Great. So just like a fun activity for parents
exactly,
to do together.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, these all sound like great events. We would love to help promote that. So definitely send all of the information that you have on those things to Hope through the event submission form she talked about earlier, and we can make sure that we can help get the word out. And
Great.
If you have pictures that you take at the events, you can send us stuff afterwards too, and we can promote it in our newsletter and through social media. Do any of you at this point have any questions about anything that we've covered during the webinar?
No, I think I'm good. Thank you.
I'm good.
All good. Thanks.
Thank you.
Great. Well, it sounds like it might be just about time for us to wrap up the webinar today then. If any of you guys have, or anybody listening to this webinar after the fact, have questions about Mentoring Month, feel free to reach out to us. My email is just benji@mobiusmentors.org. Hope and Chad's are the same. It's just their first name @mobiusmentors.org. We'll have, as I said before, more information available throughout the month on the Statehouse event itself and just on other things that are happening during National Mentoring Month. So make sure to come back to our website, look for email updates from us as well, because we'll be putting out emails periodically and posting things to social media as we get more news. And we look forward to celebrating with you all. And thanks for joining us on the webinar today. I hope that everyone has a great holidays, and we're looking forward to an awesome National Mentoring Month in 2018.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great. Take care, everyone.
Bye.